Hey there, welcome to day 51 of playing chess every day until I reach 1500 Elo. Currently I'm at 1171. I actually just played a game that I was recording, but I was on the wrong screen. It was like my full cam screen. And I just lost that game, but I'm going to do another one since that one wasn't actually recorded. And yeah, we had a win yesterday, so we're at 1178, I think, but now my loss I just had off camera was took me down to 1171. And let's go ahead and hop into a 15-minute rapid game here. Get another one in. Okay, we're up against a 1223. And I just played a guy who was about the same rating. He was like 1230 or something. I don't see that move too often. Is this like the Queen's Indian or something? I see the King's Indian a lot. Gonna play the normal moves here. This pawn is under threat. So I have to be aware of that. I think if I develop the knight here, then we kind of protect that and then allows my bishop to develop out. All right, he's taking a while on the what is this, third move? Yeah. Let's play. Let's just play this first. Wait, no, I can't play that first because this. Let's. I don't really want his knight jumping around in here. Guess it's not a huge deal though. So yeah, let's just play here first. And keep the queen to protect that so we don't have to take back with the pawn. He's taking his time on these early moves. And I think next, I'll probably just play c3. I could go for c4, but I feel like keeping it simple here and then maybe pushing for e4, e5. Okay. Um, the knight is undefended and it's on the line with my queen, so I wonder if there could be some kind of tactic where I take that or something. He takes back. I'd have to move the knight, but it doesn't have tempo on the queen or the king. And I'm not threatening a fork here, so I don't think it works. Because the knight can just hop back once I move, so yeah, that doesn't work. So if I move here, he can push one of these pawns to threaten me. I can also go here. He pushes that, I drop back, then drop back here. But that, if he keeps pushing pawns to threaten me here, it'll weaken his king side a little bit. So let's do that first. Okay, and then if we end up going back, if he chases us back, we'll just take the trade here and open up the rook. Now I will have a threat on his knight whenever I move mine, but I don't think I have any great attacking moves. to do that. Okay, he is pushing that. Once again, let's make sure there's not a tactic. If I take, he takes back. I take, I get 2 pawns. I'm threatening the knight. Oh wait, no I'm not, because it will be protected by the rook because this pawn moved. So I don't think there's anything good there. Yeah, let's just drop back. But now he has a really weak king side, so he's gonna probably want to castle queen side. Okay, like that. Also, this pawn is now pinned, so I'm threatening to take, and he can't take back, or I can take his rook. So I think he needs to address that right away. Okay, he does address that. Where do I want to move the knight? If I move the knight here, this pawn is immediately double attacked. He could push this to support it, but then he opens up his king a bit, and that doesn't look that great for him. Okay, I think I want to try that. Oh, he pushes that one for it. Okay. But that doesn't work because I can take here because the pin is still in effect. Right? That's why I was thinking he would push the other one. And if he threatens my knight, I can jump back here, and then I don't have the same issue. Actually, I guess I wouldn't either way, because he won't be able to take. Okay, I can hop back to here. I can hop here, but no, queen's looking at that. I think I like this, and if he chases me with a pawn again, I can hop back somewhere here. That should be okay. Or what would I do if I hop back immediately? Yeah, there's no great square, so yeah, I think just here. Seems good. And we have multiple escape squares now. If he pushes one of these pawns. And I also have 2 attackers on this pawn. Because the queen is opened up here. So yeah, I think I'm probably gonna try to take that on the next move if I can. I don't think he has a way to even protect it, does he? He could go here, maybe. But then I maybe could chase the queen away with a pawn. We have a decent amount of pressure on him. But I should also focus on finishing development soon, and then trying to castle. I probably would castle queenside since I opened up the rook over here. But if I could just develop this knight. Okay. Don't know what the purpose of that is. Because I can just push. Or I could just develop the knight, but I think I would just rather just push it. Because I want to connect that anyway. And then the knight will go here to d2. And this pawn is still protected because I haven't developed this bishop. But that pawn could become a target if I have to move the bishop, or if it could prevent my bishop from moving at all. So yeah, now his bishop needs to go back, and then once his bishop goes back, I can just take here. He's actually using more time than me, which is kind of rare. Normally I'm the one using way more time. Alright, bishop's back. If he wants to trade for the knight, I think I'm fine with that. So let's just take here. Yeah. Okay, and I could take back with the queen, but I think I prefer taking back with the pawn and maintaining this pressure here. Let's take with the pawn. Or actually, I do still have the same threat if I take with the queen, but I kind of want to open the position up a little bit. If I take with the queen, do I have any other threats? Am I threatening? I'm not sure. I think I'm going to take with the pawn though. And let's see what he does here, but I would definitely just check him and then probably trade the queens maybe. Just, I have an advantage in the position. I can force his king to move and then trade them off. I mean, maybe that's not the best move. There might be better ways to pressure him. Okay, now if I check him, yeah, he has to block with the queen, so. Is there anything else though? This pawn is pinned. Can't really create any immediate threats with this bishop. I don't have a dark square bishop. Yeah, I think I like just trading the queens and then supporting this pawn and having a good pawn chain. Support this pawn. Maybe bring the king to protect this weak pawn. Actually, let's just develop the knight first. Just get our knight to a good square. And now I have the option of castling queenside if I want to. Okay, his knight is pretty restricted. It's threatening this pawn, so we're going to go ahead and support that. He also cut off his attack for now on this pawn. And I like this type of pawn chain. Alright, his king can't come any further. His rook can come over. Let's maybe castle, actually. Or I go up here. He has a light square bishop. If I put my king on this dark square, it activates it slightly. We're kind of going into an endgame here. I think I like that, maybe. And then it frees up my bishop to move. And it prevents any kind of threats here. Okay, bishop can move. I think where do I want the bishop? I think I'll just keep it close here for now. Maybe move it here and try to trade it. Next will be probably getting the knight developed to a better square. We come here and then here and try to trade again. But yeah, we have a +2 advantage, so if we can just trade everything, it should be looking pretty good. Okay, his knight goes back. He's attacking this, but I think I would like to just trade the bishops anyway. Especially with the pressure that it's putting, and it has a really strong diagonal. And if he moves the bishop, then I'll just claim this diagonal, which seems like a good idea. I can also start advancing these pawns over here, as long as they're well supported. Okay, he moves the bishop, he doesn't want to trade, but now I have the better diagonal. And I probably could even try to like threaten to trap his bishop and force him either to trade or to go back to a really bad square. So if I go, what would I do? Go here. Or should I do the knight first? Knight here, or knight here. Go here. Put a little bit of pressure on that pawn, but it can't do too much because it's pretty well protected. I can also just move the rook somewhere to the middle here. Alright, let's just move the pawn. Just get our pawns across the board a bit. I like that the king is centralized in all these pawns. It's supporting all of our weak pawns here. And it's pretty safe. I think I'm not going to take that. It'll just activate his king more and allow him to come into the center of the board. I think I'd rather go here and threaten to force his bishop back. And if he takes, I just take here. But then I do have the double pawns without the one in the center to connect them all, which I actually don't like. Maybe I'll go here, threaten the bishop again, and if the bishop moves, then I can go here to support the pawn with the knight. But then if he pushes this pawn, it might be forced away. I don't really want those double pawns, so maybe I do need to take this. Take, take. I have this check after. Not sure if it's that great. I don't have any other way to support this pawn besides this, which I can't do right now. Oh wait, I could go here, and if he moves, then I'll have the knight in here, which is actually better. If he trades, take, take, then he will be able to double it, but I will have at least traded off more material. Otherwise, I just take, he comes in, and then I go with that. Actually, let's just go with that, because I don't really like the idea of him doubling those in the end. Go check here. Get our knight more active. Alright, his king goes right back, so yeah, I don't think we really lost anything from that. And let's push this pawn. Could go knight here at some point, maybe. If I could pressure this pawn, that could be nice. Like rook here. I mean, the pawn could move forward. Okay, I think I like the idea of going here. I don't think he's threatening anything with this. He's pinning the pawn to the bishop. Actually, no, not really, because it's defended. So let's just go here. Also, he gives me the open file, which maybe I should just take that. And then, actually, I could almost even see there being a mate, because these squares are cut off for the king. If I check him, everything is cut off except this one, and I have a light square bishop. So then he might have to block. Then we can force more trades. There could almost be a mate, but I think he is able to block, so I guess no mate probably. Let's just claim the open file right away. But, I mean, we have a huge advantage because not only are we up +2, but his knight is very passive. And his bishop can't really do much either because it's on a good diagonal, but as soon as we move the knight again, we're just threatening to trade it off and get our king more active. Okay, and he's double attacking this pawn, but it's defended twice. He's attacking the knight still, of course, which is defended. I think if I just check... I mean, he could trade, but yeah, I'm happy with any trades. I don't have any checks with the knight. If I take this... What's the point of that? If I take this, then what happens? I mean, this is still protected. He pins... The bishop will be pinned to the king. If he takes this... Oh, if he takes... Then he can take the knight, and I can't take back. So yeah, taking would not be good. So he could take the knight in the next move. So let's just allow him to take, we'll take back. And for now, I think probably just give this check. Okay, and then we have this check, and he has to block. Oh wait, and this check too. Right now it's not covered. But if we got rid of... Could there almost be a mate here? I can't tell if there's... I don't think so, because he still has multiple blocking pieces. Wait, but also I have the discovered attack. If the knight moves on the bishop. So if I check, I give that up. But if I go here, he takes. Yeah, I don't think it quite works. So let's just give this check. And we're giving up protection of the knight, but I think with the check it should be fine. The knight blocks. Double attacking. This is twice defended. If I give this check, he can come down, knight's still under threat. I might just trade everything off and just move the knight. I feel like that's the simplest thing to do. If I give this check and he comes down, then I trade. He goes there. Then I could potentially take this pawn at the end of that. But that seems riskier because I can't be certain that I'm calculating that right. I think I'm just going to... Should I try the risky move? Check. He has to move. He's going to move where he can threaten the knight, I think. Then I take with check. He takes. Or no, he takes with the rook. I take. He takes. I take the pawn. And then I'm also threatening this pawn again. He could take. I take back. Okay, I think it works. Let's just try. Hopefully I'm not missing something important there. But who knows. I think the safer thing would have just been to trade everything first. But I think we can win an extra pawn here. Is there anything else? There's this check, but that doesn't do anything. This check, and then it does remove the defender. He takes with the rook. Check. I don't think that does anything great. Let's just do this. Guess he could take the knight if he wanted to here. Maybe he would. But if he took the knight, then we'd have the same color bishop. Okay, he does take the knight, so he didn't want to lose the pawn. So I didn't really consider that, but shouldn't matter too much. I can't take that pawn. But yeah, since we have the same color bishop, it should be probably easy to trade the bishops off. I think I'm going to drop back here and then try to trade it off or claim that diagonal again. Could push this and prevent me from coming in here, which maybe would be a good move. I'm not sure. His king's a little bit more active than mine, so, and this would make it harder to get active. Okay, he goes for that move, yeah. Seems like a good move to me. I think I'm going to push these pawns though and try to activate the king over this way. His king can't come in. Well, he can come in on the light squares here, but I can potentially drop back to cover the light squares because the dark squares are covered here by this pawn. So yeah, let's push this way and try to bring our king up on this side since these squares in the middle are covered. And now we can't try to immediately go for that bishop trade, but also his bishop is kind of blocked off. So to get his king over here, he'd have to walk over this way. I think here, down, onto the light squares. But that's quite a few moves. And I'm going to be trying to get my pawns across the board pretty quickly here. Okay, if he goes there, that could be potentially an issue to lose this pawn. If I go here first, then I'm able to drop back and protect it. So let's do that. And it gets my pawn further across the board. Okay, I'm going to drop back and protect. Seems like the best thing, and then we're going to plan to walk the king up. And we want to keep as many pieces or pawns on dark squares as possible, which right now we do have most of them on dark squares, so he can't really target too many of them. Okay, here I'm just probably going to try to get the bishop trade, or maybe I'll just walk the king up right away, because he'll probably move. I think I'll walk the king up first. He's not really, I don't think he's really threatening anything. I have this covered, so let's go up. Actually, he can threaten this pawn, but for now it's safe. And maybe I'll move the king and then push it onto a dark square. If he takes, I take back. Could take, he takes. He is double attacking, so I think I need to just take there. Okay, and let's start pushing. His king is pretty locked in here. And I can also come in and threaten this pawn, and then maybe tie his bishop down to it. Yeah, let's threaten this pawn first. Or do I push first? I think let's threaten the pawn first, because I'm going to need my king at the end of the board, I think, regardless. So yeah, threaten the pawn. And if he attacks our pawn, we can move it. Alright, now his bishop is tied down. I can come into here, and then we're putting pressure on the pawn and the bishop, because if this pawn ever moves, we take the bishop. So that seems really strong. And now we should be able to just walk these two up. Which one do I push first? This would check. Actually, it could be a little tricky because his bishop does help defend some of these squares here. Gives up this pawn. But honestly, I don't think I need to take this pawn because this pawn is never moving. It's on a dark square. The only way it would ever disappear is if his king walked all the way down there and took it. So I'm gonna go ahead and take the risk and not take the pawn. The only advantage to taking the pawn is that then I can open up this square for my light square bishop. But I think instead of doing all that, I'm just going to focus on pushing here for now. Okay, and if I go here, he can go here, but then I can bring this up. So it's... Oh wait, actually I have to protect this pawn. I almost missed that for a sec. So I guess I do need to go back. Okay, we'll go back and protect it. And then try to bring the bishop in. Oh wait, no, I don't have to protect that pawn. I think that was a mistake, because if he takes it, then I can run for promotion. So instead of doing that, I could have maybe just walked the king here and then here. That might have been better. Okay, I think I need to just take that. And then he will be pretty close to promotion. I want to go here, here. But I think instead of... Yeah, I think instead of taking here, I think I'll let him take, and then my bishop serves to block his pawn. So I'm going to keep the bishop here. I need to actually just go back with the king. Undo the mistake that I made. Which I believe is a mistake, because if he takes this, I go here, he goes here, I promote. And the promotion square is not covered by the bishop. Oh wait, no, actually, because the bishop covers that square, so never mind. Okay, it is a little bit tricky, actually. Because if he goes there, I go here. I need to trade the bishop off. Maybe I'll just start pushing this pawn too. Or maybe I do push this pawn and then try to walk this one up. I think I'm going to do that. But I have to... Actually, I don't know, because I have to keep the defense on this one. Let's go here and threaten it with check. His bishop is doing quite a lot, though. Particularly defending this. So if I could get rid of the bishop or force it away, that would be perfect. But this is a more serious threat now, because it comes with check. He could move here, but that's the only way he can maintain pressure on this pawn. And then I also have another check. But yeah, I am more tempted to just take the free pawn now because of the promotion path, but I need to just get rid of the king first. But if he takes with this, I can take back, and then my bishop is both blocking this pawn and threatening this one, and this one is also blocked by a dark square pawn. So I think if he takes this, he doesn't really have a good path to promote over here. And if he pushes it, I just take. Actually, that's a better idea. If he pushes, I kind of need to take, and then he does get a passed pawn. So that's a little bit dangerous. Here. 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 I'm not sure what to do here. Oh, his bishop isn't covering this anymore. So if I take, no, he still is promoting really quickly. Let's move our bishop back to this diagonal now. And then we claim this square, so actually we might be able to promote. I think I like that idea. So then I can walk the king up here, and if he does take now, that's a real threat. I do have to be really careful though, because he does have some pawns that are pretty close to promoting. And I do think pushing this seems like a pretty good idea for him. Or maybe not anymore, actually, because if I just advance my pawn, I think it doesn't work anymore, because then it's just totally locked up with the bishop blocking. So yeah, maybe it's not as good now. I think playing the king back earlier... Actually, no, it didn't slow me down because I did need to do it because the bishop was guarding. I was going to say that slowed me down from winning, but I forgot the bishop was protecting this, so I did need to play king back, at least until I could control this diagonal, and now I do have control of it. So we should be close to promoting here. He's taking quite a while. And if I go up and he doesn't take the pawn, I can just keep walking my king up until I can try to promote. Oh, he just resigns. That's surprising. I thought he was going to play a little bit more, but I guess he realized that there wasn't really a chance here. Okay, we're up to a new high rating, because this guy was pretty high rated, so I got 9 points for that, and we're up to 1180, despite the fact that I took a loss right before this video. Let's see the game review. Okay, 90.2% accuracy. That's definitely one of my highest. And he had 85. I think he played really well. He only had one mistake and 2 inaccuracies, and he didn't have a blunder, he didn't have a miss, and neither did I. And I'll move this screen out of the way. So we both actually played pretty well. That was a really good game. 1950 game rating, and he had 1850. And let's go through the moves here. That was inaccurate. Just to play the London, develop the bishop out. It wanted me to just immediately claim the center. And I would do that, but I've never really played those openings where you just immediately have 2 pawns in the center. But I guess just don't think about it too much, just develop everything and it should be fine. Oh, that was best to move the bishop. Instead of just dropping it back right away, we forced some weaknesses in his position and then allowed him to trade it, which I really like that. Oh, it wanted the pawn first. Okay, what was that? Pawn here, and then if he takes, I take back with the pin on the knight, but can't he defend it? Take. Knight's pinned. But if he played this or something, that's inaccurate. Because I can still play the pawn here. Okay. I actually wasn't thinking of using the pawn. I was thinking of double attacking it like by moving the knight and using the queen to double attack. I like totally didn't even realize I could just push the pawn. So that makes sense. So I would have, if I did that, he takes, I win the pawn. Yeah, so I would win the pawn and then get the trade. But I did not see that tactic. So we drop back. These were still good moves. He trades, we get the open file. This was a mistake. Because once I moved the knight, that was best. He pushed again to support it, and then we had this tactic which he missed, simply because the pawn is pinned. Yeah, that was a weird move, just to give this random check, because it did nothing for him. I just pushed the pawn and he has to go back. And then I just got a free tempo to, you know, support my pawn chain here. Then we go ahead and win another pawn and trade everything off. It did want me to take back with the queen here, which I thought about for a while, but I really didn't know what the benefit of it was. And I kind of like the idea of opening the file, open up the position since I have an advantage, and get this pawn further across the board and then support it with f4. So that's the reason I didn't take with the queen, but it did want me to do it. And then we got the check. It was best to trade the queen, and then we develop. Now let's see what our advantage is. It's +3, so we're up 2 pawns, but we have a whole extra pawn worth of advantage on the eval bar because we have a nice position. Now he was very inactive. It wanted him to trade the bishop, which to me seems like a bad idea for him, but I guess giving up the diagonal is even worse. That was best. The check was only good. He likes these pawn pushes, so I felt good about this. Like, I had a lot of space to move my pawns, and then I also was going to get tempo on the bishop once I get here. So I really like that. Here I didn't fall for this. It took me a moment to realize what he was doing. Oh wait, no, it wasn't here. It was after he pushed the pawn. We claimed the open file. So here, like, he was just trying to set up this tactic with bishop back. I think he was, like, really focusing on this tactic for a couple moves because all the moves he played with the rook over here. Otherwise, normally that's not a good move, and he gave up the file. But he was really hoping I would take that pawn and give up the knight if I did that. Yeah. Wait. Yeah. And then he just takes it because it's pinned. But instead we got the check here. And that's a plus 4.38 now. That was best to check again. The knight check was not good. Oh, I should have gone knight here to double attack, to triple attack the knight. Let me see if how much did the eval change? +5, 4.6, so it wasn't a huge difference. But I did miss the fact, didn't really consider that at the end of this sequence that he could just take the knight and then I don't win the pawn. Let's just see real quick. If I go here, do I end up winning the knight? No, because he defends it like that. But then I go here. He goes back. Okay, it just puts a lot of pressure and it gives me some extra moves to get my pawns further across the board. But instead we traded. Oh, it wanted the knight to take first. Oh, I didn't even consider that. Because that... Then if the king takes, then I can win the knight. Take. So then I won the pawn in the end. And we're threatening this discovered attack. Oh, that's a clever idea. I didn't consider that. There's so many times when you can just slightly change up the move order and it totally changes the tactic or makes it a viable tactic. And yeah, that's a good example. But even after this, oh yeah, that was best for him to take the knight. And then we drop back, but even after this, we still have a plus 2.8, so we did actually lose a decent amount of our advantage there. Wanted me to push the pawn first instead of dropping back, but I didn't want him, once he got here, he was going to win this pawn, and I didn't want him to win that pawn, because then it's a lot easier for him to get a passed pawn over here. Okay, getting the king up was best. He wants bishop here first, instead of dropping back. Why is that? So if bishop here, he is able to take. If he takes, I go bishop here. Oh yeah, that's why, because then I'm blocking the square. Instead of just defending it, I can block it, and my king is here to support the bishop. Take, take, and then we're just going to promote very soon here. Okay, I like that idea. But I was more focused on still protecting this and just keeping everything protected instead of playing riskier moves. And then he tried to trade. That was only good. I mean, if I took, he would have just won the game. Yeah. Immediately goes to minus 5.5. So obviously I wasn't going to take that. And he gave up our diagonal that we needed to be able to promote. So that went pretty well. We got another nice in-game practice, being up 2 pawns. Like most of our games right now have been small advantages or even equal material and then playing in the in-game. And I've been really liking it. And a lot of you guys have been commenting about like tips, and someone gave me a book recommendation. And I might actually get an in-game book potentially and read more about in-games because I've been really liking the in-games. In-games are pretty fun. So yeah, we're up to 1180, new high rating, only 20 points away from 1200. And this has been day 51. I'll see you guys on day 52. Thanks for watching.